The Mustang Mach-E is Ford's first serious electric vehicle, but the GT and the GT Performance Edition up the ante with more power and better handling. Let's take a look at the differences between these two top dogs and find out if the Performance Edition is really quicker in the real world.
The Mach-E, of course, is Ford's first electric SUV. Ford calls it a Mustang, but we don't have to. So for 2022, the premium starts at about $49,000. And here are the things that are the same with the premium as these models. So these are all-wheel drive. They all get the panoramic sunroof. They all have a 91 kilowatt hour usable battery, and they all get the same B&O sound system, which is the upgrade. And that's where the similarities end. Let's talk about the powertrain. On the premium, you get 346 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque, whereas this gets 480 horsepower. The GT Performance Edition also gets 480 horsepower. This has 600 pound-feet of torque, but that has 634. So we got the same battery, so how does the GT get more power and torque than the premium? The big difference is the motor. The GT gets an upgraded motor with more power and torque available than the premium does. The GT is supposed to do 0 to 60 in 3.8. The Performance Edition is supposed to do it in 3.5. Yes, we're gonna test it. The whole front fascia on the GT is a little bit different than the lower trim levels, but one of the coolest things that at least I can see that I like, this is all blacked out and this pony lights up at night. How cool is that? Now the EPA quoted range for the GT is 270. Performance Edition is supposed to do 260. Real world, the owner of this says he's getting somewhere over 200, and in my last range test and my first one, I got about 220 with this in aggressive driving. Now all Mach-E's get 3 driving modes. You got Whisper, Engage, and Unbridled. However, the GTs get an additional mode called Unbridled Extend. This is supposed to be a track mode that is going to dial back the power and reduce the overheating in the battery so that you can do continuous laps over and over again, apparently without losing power or lap times. We're gonna test it and find out very soon at Willow Springs International Raceway, so stay tuned for that video. One of the biggest visual differences between the GT and the GT Performance is that this GT gets 20-inch wheels, but there's a difference. These are sort of the flower power style wheels, I'm gonna call them. You get 245 45 R20 rubber on them, but these are all seasons. The Performance Edition gets different wheels. So these are also 20-inch wheels. They're the same size, but this has this multi-spoke sort of basket style. And we get different tires here too. We get Pirelli P0s, but these are a special version of the P0s. They are the Elect-T version, so I'm assuming they're a little bit less sticky and perhaps a little bit less rolling resistance, but I want to find out. Let me know which wheels you prefer. One of the biggest differences between the GT and the Performance Edition, and why I chose this, is that the GT gets conventional struts, whereas this gets MagneRide suspension. And the difference between these vehicles is about $5,000. So the MagneRide suspension system is a semi-active suspension system, and it dynamically adapts to the road as you're going down. So it can sense about 1,000 times per second from sensors exactly what's going on at the road. It's going to sense things like if there's bumps, your throttle position, your cornering angle, all these kinds of things, and it's going to adjust the ride continuously. And it actually, in my opinion, gives a better ride here. This is smoother and it's better for handling as well. If you enjoy Mach-E content, please consider subscribing. I'm gonna be doing a lot of testing with my vehicle, including taking it on track, so stay tuned for that.
The Performance Edition also gets upgraded seats with more bolstering. They both get 4-piston Brembo front brakes, but the rotors in the Performance Edition are 19 millimeters larger in diameter. Here are the key features for both cars.
So now, why don't we find out if this is actually quicker and see if those additional 34 pound-feet of torque really make a difference.
We conducted 2 0 to 60 tests for each vehicle, starting with the GT Performance Edition.
Here we go, unbridled mode. Let's see how fast this thing is. Oh my God. Okay, we got 4.16 on a 56% state of charge. Let's see what we can do in the GT, see if it's any different. We are in the GT, 57% state of charge, almost exactly what I started at, which is 56. put it in unbridled mode and let's check it out. Oh, it's so quick. .08. It is slightly faster. Slightly faster. All right, so 0.05 seconds faster. Let's see if we can beat that. I'm calling this pretty much a draw. God, it is so fast. Holy crap. 4.08. Exactly the same. 4.08. Wow. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Whew, this thing is very quick. And the number is 4.13, so it got a little faster. My state of charge is 54%. Results of the drag race, very surprising. So I did 2 runs in each vehicle. They both had an almost identical state of charge. Mine started out at 56%. The GT started out at 57%. Each run took about 1%. They were both in unbridled mode, and these cars weigh about the same, although this is slightly bigger, slightly heavier by, I think, about 100 pounds, probably due to the Magna ride. So best run over here, 4.13. 2 identical runs, 4.08. That's only 0.05 seconds difference. So I'm gonna basically chalk that up to a software difference and maybe the amount of heat that was in the car, maybe the weight, maybe the amount of traction available. So very, very, very close. So is there a difference between the GT and the GT Performance, the difference in terms of acceleration real world? Not really.
Next, I wanted to find out the differences in the suspension. So first we took the GT out for a quick drive with the standard springs. After that, we took out the GT Performance Edition with the adaptive Magna ride dampers.
On a road like this, which is not the smoothest road, it is a little bit firmer. Obviously, I need to spend more time with this vehicle to really get a good sense of what it feels like. But it does feel like there's a little bit more impact harshness coming in through the tires. You can kind of feel a little bit more of the road. Now, we don't really have any big whoop-de-whoops over here. At least I can't find any in this quick little drive here before the sun goes down. But the owner of this says that when you go over really big imperfections on the freeway, when you go over, you know, big sort of rollers, he says in the back you can definitely feel it and you kind of get tossed around a little bit. So in here, on these kinds of road, relatively smooth. I think the difference is pretty subtle on a road like this. Let's do a quick drive in my car on the same road, see how much of a difference there really is. Actually, it is noticeable. There is a very noticeable difference in the ride quality. I didn't think I would feel it in such a short little drive over this kind of pavement. This is not great pavement, but it's not terrible either, at least in this section. The ride is noticeably better. There's a lot less impact harshness coming into the cabin. I'm feeling a lot less of these little small surface imperfections here. It actually makes a noticeable difference. Now, I am in whisper mode, which is the softest setting. It's the same as engaged. I'm going to put it in unbridled mode, which is going to stiffen up the suspension. It's also going to sharpen up the throttle response and going to introduce a little bit more regenerative braking. So this is the exact same piece of road here. We're going to turn around at the exact same spot. I can feel it stiffened up a little bit already. All right, here is the crappy part of the road. Oh yeah, even in unbridled, it's better. In whisper, it's definitely better. So in unbridled, it is similar, but in whisper mode, it's noticeably smoother. Noticeable difference. And again, thank you so much to Gibi, the owner, for lending us his GT to perform these tests. Thank you very much appreciate it. I'll put his Instagram down below. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more Mach-E content, subscribe. I'll be taking this to the track and doing a lot more tests. Let me know what you want to see. My name is Eric. Thanks for watching.